Hey guys, if you love QF's content on our free Sundays and Thursday sessions, then please visit our Patreon page in the description and sub to the Black Kluge tier or higher for full access to not only our bonus weekly Tuesday night shows and the alternate Sunday shows you've been missing, but also to the exclusive episodes not available to the lower tiers. It's roughly the price of one coffee a month, and nobody at Starbucks will make you laugh like we do for that kind of scratch. In addition, when you sub to the Black Kluge tier, you'll get 2 weeks advance access to each Thursday session on Patreon before it makes it to YouTube.
Now look, I don't want to get into a long explanation. That's not what I came here for. My audience isn't here to laugh. Hour and a half. I have not taken a break. Spread the word about Sirius. We do not take commercial breaks that often. Let's go ahead to Randy. I don't want to be in a wig and a purse. I do that in my personal life.
Jeff, I don't want anybody touching me.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm with you.
Sometimes. You're like, hey,
yeah,
man,
but,
what's up?
Yeah, you touch me because you're paid to touch me.
I'm not saying I was the biggest stud, but I got mine. And I fucked some pretty good-looking women way before I was Howard Stern on the radio. Fuck off, assholes.
The nose I have now is gigantic, and the fact of the matter is, the reason it looks different on Letterman, which I've explained a million times, is that I keep the camera so far back on the E! Show, and I only shoot from the right-hand side.
You wouldn't turn the children against me, would you?
I would try.
She would, too.
She's coming and she's fighting on all sides.
No, but I'd win that one.
I wouldn't even have to do anything. If you ever did anything to hurt me, they would hate you.
I wouldn't hurt you. I just want to go out and have sex with some women.
Listen, by the way, considering what I'm going through, I feel horrible that your smoking hot girlfriend went to a movie without you last night.
And then came home.
Can I say something about that, though?
And then came home.
Let's be honest, though.
When he was knee-deep in Johnny Walker Blue.
Well, it's a bachelor party.
I think it was a good idea for the beginning of it.
Yeah, I think you would have been just as weird. If we started at the beginning, you go, oh, my God, everyone's staring at me.
Not me. I love it. I love when people stare.
He loves to be stared at.
I love it.
Move into Sam's house and get the fuck out of our lives.
Fat
We'll get Beetlejuice to pick out our
get fatter. Get fatter, Marty. We're more of those fucking things.
Beetlejuice will pick out Howard Church. You can live with Sam and blow him. You're being a little,
and not only that,
baby there.
No,
not only that,
I'm just trying to weigh it
You
up.
can't live without a stylist in your life?
I'm thinking who would be easier to replace?
I think Ralph, of course.
But there's a lot of
the
guys
guy
who
who picks out your clothes.
Chris, could you date Ralph? Would you? You couldn't? Why?
No, look at that smile. He's lying.
You're lying.
Robin,
Tell the truth. Could you date Ralph?
That's a no.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
I could.
No.
We would have the best time, Robin.
I couldn't date Ralph.
You wouldn't talk to me.
I couldn't date Ralph, but I could fuck him. I'd fuck his brains out.
Well, maybe. Maybe.
If you guys
a lot of people feel that way.
I know Ralph is straight, but
All right, now I understand.
All right.
I don't understand. I can't understand gorgeous.
It's a straight place.
No guy, let me just say something about men. No man
Says gorgeous.
Really? This restaurant is gorgeous.
Okay.
Now, you got to understand something. Guys don't talk that way.
Next
Guy
time.
goes, hey, it was a good lunch.
And it was sort of set
well, the sketch, what the controversy was, it was Patrick Swayze, who's, gorgeous.
Welcome, ladies and gents, to QF, a podcast about Howard Stern. I'm your host, Fillmore, a.k.a. Jim Fix, and with me is a much-requested return of Mr. Cary. How are you, sir?
Good. Doing fine now that the weather's broke here in Phoenix, and it's not 110 anymore.
It's just 100.
No, actually, believe it or not, this is crazy. There's a cold snap. It got down to the 50s last night. People were walking around in big puffy jackets and fur-lined parkas.
I was gonna say, is it actually at the point where you got to turn on the heat?
Not quite, because next week it's supposed to snap back up into the high 90s. Which,
gotcha.
Yeah, but that's a welcome respite from 110. I mean, 100. We broke the record for consecutive over 100-day temperatures and 110-degree temperatures. I mean, It's crazy.
Yeah.
Whatever that translates into Celsius.
Well, I'll do the math. I'll do wiggy math for it later. Guys, we're going to continue with the CBS lawsuit files. We got a lot of clips to get through, and some really good ones, including a day that I'd never heard before, and an exchange I'd never heard before from another station. Which, again, the reason why I want to go through a lot of this is because just we can, and we have the real estate to go ahead and do so. But I think it's really telling because of how he started off this whole infomercial thing and saying that, you know, Joel Hollander was great and Les Moonves, they've been nothing but gentlemen, and all of a sudden he's getting pissed off. So this one is Wiggy flustered about what he can say. October 12th, 2004.
I'm shocked because he's never missed a day.
I had a busy day yesterday that I'd love to tell you about, but I'm not gonna. Well, look,
you can't.
Look, things are getting out of hand.
Really?
I don't want to. You know what? I just want to say something. I do love this company very much. You know, and my recent situation had nothing to do with them. It has to do with the FCC, the government, and what's going on.
Blah blah blah.
I think some people are feeling abandoned, and I get it. I mean, I understand. So I don't want to. I don't know how to. I don't want to talk about my new situation out of respect for the people who work here. I mean, nobody came down on me and said, please don't. But I sense things are out of control.
Oh.
It's really bad. But it's hard. I know that everyone on the phone has questions and wants to know stuff.
Right.
It's an awkward position.
Well, is it okay if they talk about it?
Well, Les Moonves was on Letterman talking about me last night.
Was he?
And I think I would want to play it, but I think that's going to violate my new rule.
So I looked, guys, trust me. I tried to find the clip in general, but there is Leslie Moonves on Letterman, but it's not the appearance I'm looking for. I needed the exact date, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Just a record that he did show up there, and I don't remember what he had to say. There was no news report that I know of. Anyway, there's some kind of gag order when it comes to certain things, and he's trying to find a way to get around it and trash these guys somehow.
Well, I mean, obviously they talked to him about it, or else he wouldn't. He even mentioned that there's a rule now.
Yeah,
so.
Yes. Yep.
I don't know what to do is what I'm saying to you. You know what I mean?
But it's Les Moonves.
I know. I don't know what to say.
What? We can play him.
No, we can play him, but he's talking about me and my move.
Well, I got to know what he's saying.
I know. I don't want to piss anyone off.
Oh, dear.
I'm trying real hard.
Yeah.
What, did you have a meeting?
Well, yeah.
Oh.
You know, and I mean, every question on the phone is about
I know.
What's going on
I
with it?
don't know how you...
So let's get the callers to do my dirty work for me. So this is one of those situations where we've already discussed that we don't know that they're going to sue him at this point. Late, even after the fact, we don't realize that it's not right now, or it's not last week, because he only announced on the 6th of the month, and it's the 12th now. And so the problem is he just will not shut the fuck up. And that's what the meeting was about. Now he's like, Jesus, can I find a way? How do I find a way to jelly beaner my way out of this thing and talk about it?
They must have smacked his beak a little bit because, I mean, well, first off, how can you miss it? But, but they obviously did, because he sounds a little reserved about it. He's not, I mean, he's trying to deflect like he always does and make himself out to be a victim, but he's definitely seems a little bit chastened, that doesn't it seem like?
I think so, yeah.
Well, I've been talking about this, from day to day with people. In fact, I had a conversation about it with Artie yesterday.
Yeah, well.
That you can't, the people on the phone are excited and they want to ask questions. And
right.
And people will come in here, people who are guests will come in here and they'll just bring it up spontaneously.
Well, I don't know what to do. We'll figure it out.
All right. Well, for today. We'll pretend.
I was going to play Les on Letterman.
Yeah, I'm dying. Now that you've said it, I'm dying to know what he said.
It's funny because, I wish I could talk. I don't know what to do. Right.
So you figure they threatened him with legal action if he talked about it. That's the only reason he's doing this. Otherwise, he would be right out of his fucking big mouth.
Right. Right. Yeah. But, you would have thought, well, you would have thought that this is the kind of stuff that he would have talked to his agent, to his legal team about. But, there's no shutting him up.
No.
Another fine mess.
No, because I want to talk about stuff that's.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a mess.
Good night.
All right.
I just don't know how to handle it.
Now
I'll be
you're
honest.
really strapped.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was just about to take some phone calls, but let me see if I can pick through them.
So if I find a news story I want to do about it, I shouldn't?
I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Because I thought about that after the show yesterday. I was just reading the newspaper.
I know. But you got to be sensitive to these people that work here. Yeah, Bruce. We all work here
This ain't Bruce Howard, it's Josh. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, man.
How you doing? First of all, congratulations for going to satellite. You rule.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. You can't stop that.
No.
What's up, Robin?
Well, the big debate. I'm going to hang up on the guy.
Okay.
The big debate is. I'm only hanging up because they're getting in the way. The big debate is, well, am I? I don't want to come on here doing a commercial for.
Right. I understand.
I'm going to keep one.
But a lot of people obviously have read in the newspaper. It was very big news that this is happening. And
it was everywhere.
Right. So.
Hardly a secret.
And my feeling is, now everyone, see, I can't even talk about this. I'm for the first time in my life, I'm tongue-tied because, oh, man.
I love that discomfort.
I got to just shut up.
Okay.
That's what I got to do.
The concern is that it's an advertisement anytime it's mentioned.
It's an advertisement. I'm rubbing it in the face of broadcast. And a lot of people are hurt. One anonymous executive in an article said, Howard doesn't care about the radio industry. He only cares about himself. I said, well, I haven't yet to find a radio executive that doesn't care about himself. And as far as me not caring about the radio industry, it's all I've ever cared about. The radio industry abandoned me. They brought this on themselves. Not one person in the so-called radio industry.
It certainly was an industry-wide response when you were attacked for broadcasting.
Mm-hmm. If everybody had stood strong, this wouldn't be happening. The industry did it to itself.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Like, there's this martyr thing was never a good look for him, especially when, other people managed to get, go on with their radio careers, without having to worry about the FCC. Like, honestly, it was just, I think in the shock era, it was harder for him to get away with thinking about doing cleaner comedy because he was too lazy to bother trying. It's always more difficult to come up with funny, clean comedy.
Right, exactly. But him acting like, he was going to rally the troops around this, big injustice and, like he's some kind of labor leader or something like that. It's hilarious.
Yeah. And the next one, I'm going to cut this one short and go into the next one. This is from the 26th of October. Serious mentions get bleeped.
What can I tell you? I was particularly peeved yesterday when I saw that Tom Chiusano and Dead Air Dave are under some kind of weird edict or they've dreamt this up on their own to bleep out the word serious, which I had no idea was being done to me. I am increasingly agitated here.
Do you mean if I say I'm serious about this?
No, not that. No, referring to the radio group.
I don't know. They might take it that far, Robin.
Now let me tell you something. I'm particularly agitated by what the FCC has done to this show.
Fuck off. Okay, so this is part 2 of the same day, October 26th, literally 2 weeks later. So there was a couple of weeks there where he kind of he acquiesced, I think, and he just went on with other things. But in the meantime, it's like. He can't not talk about it at some point.
Well,
I'm leaving. Look, if
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, is this the birth of
No, that comes later on, but that we hopefully will get to that.
Deal.
If Hemmer leaves buying a goodbye, we'll give him a goodbye.
You're goddamn right.
You're not leaving.
Oh, a lot of people in the company, not Tom.
Yeah, who's pretending? No.
You want me to go into it?
Do that.
You want me to go into what's going on behind the scenes?
I would like it.
I'll tell you everything that's going on.
Have a nice private conversation about it.
There's a lot going on. Now, what's with bleeping the word serious? Who decided that? Who gave you the word on that? Give me the name of the individual.
I'm not giving you names. I'm not going anywhere.
Well,
I don't give out free commercials.
Oh, please.
No,
we give out free commercials all the time. When I talk about my life, and I talk about what restaurants I go to, and I talk about what bars I've been to, I mentioned the Merc Bar 50 times yesterday.
Yeah, and they're often plugs, we've realized now after the fact.
Right, after the fact.
Yeah. Well, the one I remember specifically, you mentioned the Golden Palace KC story. There's no way that wasn't a fucking plug.
Oh, yeah. Of course it was.
Now, to this day, KC maintains that it was real, but I don't think so because, again, I have my he just wouldn't allow the name to be mentioned that many times, even once, because that wasn't the way the show worked. I mean, it was, whenever something was a commercial entity, like with Steven Singer, you get those plugs ready all the time. Those were legit plugs, but before that ruling came in, they did it all the time. They tried to crowbar all kinds of shit into that.
Right. So the whole Golden Palace thing, I think that was probably KC's the one that came up with it. But I guarantee you Howard got a taste of that. You know what I mean?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. And so he was cultivating the deal like KC was, and he probably got a piece of it as well. But, the Howard, of course, unless he's getting a cut, there's no way it's hitting the air.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And same thing with, these restaurants and stuff that he's mentioning. He's, it's all about the marbles.
Gutterman's Funeral Home.
Okay, you drink
financial gain.
There's financial gain in a lot of it.
Wait, there's no financial gain. There's no business relationship there.
You're being silly.
No, I'm not.
How many things have I been involved in? My movie. Everyone said, don't mention your movie on the air. We're not involved.
No.
Paramount wasn't owned by Viacom at that time.
No, but we never said that.
No, Mel said it to me. And I said to Mel, it's something that's going on in my life, and I'm going to mention it because there's no way to avoid it. I spend 14 hours a day on a set,
and
the people are curious.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but it made the show bigger, and it made the show more interesting.
And that's exactly what's happening with my move to satellite. It is making that's why you have record high ratings. People are tuning in to find out what's going on, but they're going to Letterman to find out.
End of a business relationship.
Excuse me.
It's a different medium. A movie is not a competition to a radio station.
Right. Yeah, this is a direct competitor.
Yeah. And Howard's going to try. This is similar to another clip I have about his retarded logic and trying everything he can to justify it. But if you notice, he just gets faster and louder to try to, wear somebody down rather than actually address the points and go, well, you're right about that. But what about this? Instead of, so he can't go point counterpoint. He's got to go bullshit point with bullshit point with bullshit point until you get worn out.
Right. And just drown you out with being boorish and loud.
Yeah.
Excuse me. This relationship was ending anyway. You know it and I know it. You know it and I know it. And if you're going to sell it as a goodbye, then it's a goodbye.
Right.
And I can't go sort of goodbye, but I can't tell you what's going on.
But everybody knows what's going on.
Well, I'll make up a code word.
And I'm not giving free commercials.
You're not getting, believe me, you've given free commercials everywhere. You just have hurt feelings. Goodbye, Tom.
No,
goodbye. The long goodbye begins. Goodbye.
I can deal with
Goodbye. That's it.
Excuse me?
This went on with Son of the Beach. Went on with everything.
Again, Son of the Beach, a show you produced in name only, but it was a TV show. Again, not direct competition. And because people are paying attention, they're listening to the radio at that point, like in that morning drive. And Son of the Beach would have been, later in the night, 8 o'clock, or who knows what time it would have been on when it aired. It's a different medium and different time slot, so it's not a competitor.
Yeah, but I could see their point about like Son of the Beach in that, look, if you want to promote it, that's fine, but you're going to have to pay for it, or Paramount or whoever.
Yes.
Whoever produces I forget who produced the show.
It was FX in the end.
FX, I mean, yeah. Or that's the network it was on. But whoever really put up.
might have been not Fox. Was it Fox?
No, it was. I think you're right. I think it was FX, but you know, it's the network
production company and
the production company, and it was probably the production company was probably what's his name, the guy that was on the show.
Tim Stack.
Yeah, Tim Stack. I mean, because as we've talked about, Wiggy didn't put up any money.
There's no way. There's just no way. If he might have put in a token million or something like that for him, which for him would have been nothing, just to have but he would have I think he would put in some money just to get the production name, but not real money.
Right.
And he might get enough back to cover his nut, but that was about it. So he wasn't. If there was ever going to be any big profit sharing, he wasn't going to take part of it because he's not a major investor in the film, in the show.
Right, and that's why he didn't care. I think I remember someone called in once when God, this is how long ago it was when Son of the Beach was released on like DVD or Blu-ray or something like that, and they were
Lisa
like, "Oh, hey,
in.
Howard, what do you think?" He was like, "I don't care. Who cares? I'm not getting any money out of it."
Yeah, that was a great clip. I played it before. Lisa G came and goes, "I don't give a fuck about that. I don't get a dime." He goes, it was just so telling, if he doesn't get a piece of it, obviously that's where the motivation comes from.
Right.
So.
I know exactly what's going
Different.
on.
This is different.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
There's no difference.
It is different.
Sir, I am not competing with you directly. You have no problems. You can have Donald Trump or
radio technology.
What? Radio is technology. Have you been running ads for XM radio on your station?
And I get paid for that.
You get paid for that. Okay. But that's a competing media.
So when you start paying,
isn't that amazing? XM we're paying regular radio to advertise, but that's like you said, they're willing to pay for it to get the word across, and that's what maybe Sirius wasn't willing to do.
Right. Yeah, because all their money was tied up paying him.
No kidding.
Then I'll be happy to do it.
Well, but by the way, when you stop selling this show as a finale and a good long goodbye, I'll stop talking about it.
No, because
if you're saying it's a goodbye, then let me say goodbye. You don't want me to say goodbye.
You're getting paid.
I'm getting paid to do my radio show and talk about my life. That's what I've always done, and there's nothing that indicates that I haven't been able to do it. And I've done it for other companies outside of this company. I have Son of the Beach, my movie, my books, everything.
It was done there
was no money exchanging hands.
Ending with the mothership.
No. Yes. Come on. Stop it. The relationship isn't ending. I'm honoring my contract. I have a year left here. This is the same exact thing that we've always done. You're wrong.
No, you're wrong.
The book is no different. The movie was no different. Son of the Beach was no different. Why? Why is it different?
Because your relationship is going to end with this company.
My relationship could have ended any time during those things.
But
no, and it wasn't going to end when you were releasing your book, you fucking idiot. The other thing is, it was always about with the book. It's a physical property. You're going to go to Barnes and Noble or whatever the fuck, and you're going to go for signings. Then you can talk about it. Then people can talk about it and call in on the air, and you can have stories and anecdotes that feeds the radio show. Most of those things, that's key. The going to Sirius isn't feeding the fucking radio show.
Right. Same thing with really the movie or the TV show as well. People see it, whatever, and they come and talk about it on the radio the next day. But,
right. The other thing is, Ben and I just covered and released the Colford Part 13. It's on YouTube now. And he, when he left, where was it? Washington to go to WNBC. The problem was at the time that a lot of advertisers knew he was leaving, so they wouldn't actually give their money, like they wouldn't put a campaign behind him because they go, well, he's only got 3 months left or 4 months left, and we usually operate in like 6 month intervals or a year or whatever. So we're not going to waste our time with this guy if he's gone. And advertising has always been his Achilles heel throughout every single market. Like if you can't get advertisers for the Howard Stern show, it's not worth paying an exorbitant amount to get the syndication rights.
Yeah, it's almost. Yeah, it's
a catch-22. You might get listeners, you might get a lot of listeners, but if you can't get advertising to offset that, which is how TV shows pay for themselves, selling air, they're basically ad salesmen each show, then you're at a quandary. You got a big problem.
Right. Yeah, that's maybe they're offsetting it by if Stern is on in the morning drive, they get to market their other shows later in the day or whatever, and people hang around. But I get it.
Yeah.
Yes, and my relationship isn't ending with the company. I'm honoring my contract for the next year.
But you've already announced you have something new planned.
That's right. I have a lot of things new planned that don't include you.
But that changes the deal.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It's the same exact thing as the book.
It's not the
Has
same
nothing to
exact
do with
thing.
your company.
That's.
But I went on and did it. You didn't know if I'd end my show in a year.
You're wrong.
Okay, I'm wrong.
Your book wasn't a competitive technology. Your movie wasn't a competitive technology.
Baloney. What about Son of the Beach? TV competes with radio. TV takes away audience from radio all the time. When that show was on at night, people chose not to listen to radio.
You're not on at night, you fucking idiot.
Oh my God. It's like, no, it's not the 1940s, where everybody had the big radio in the room and, no, let's turn on this new. Let's turn on this newfangled TV thing, and the screen is like 3-inch diagonal. Come on.
Not to mention, at this point, VCRs existed. People could tape the shows that they didn't get to watch it, and they actually had an option to get to enjoy both.
Right.
Like you didn't have to be commitment listening or commitment viewing anyway.
You can't argue with me. You can't win an argument with me. I'm a genius. It's me arguing with a flea.
Right.
Stop it.
So flick.
Stop embarrassing yourself.
I am.
It's the same exact thing. And if this is a goodbye, I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Sometimes I talk about WPLJ. Sometimes I talk about Z100. They're all competitors. I talk about whatever I want to. There's too many limitations here. I'm off to a new medium. No limitations, Tom. None. I used to have Joan Rivers on here promoting her WOR radio show.
Yeah.
I don't
And you
care.
had Al Franken on promoting Air America.
You know why? I'm not afraid.
She was a guest, and you were getting showbiz questions out of her, fucking idiot. And so, I'm going to continue playing this one. It is one of the longer clips, but I think it's worth it just to show 79 logic going on through his brain. But I think, again, as we talked about before in previous episodes, they gave him the opportunity to say it for the first day or the first 2 days, or at least the first day, and they were kind enough to do that. But then they weren't expecting he was going to keep crowbarring it into every fucking day going forward.
Oh yeah, and that's exactly what happened. Oh, you remember as the countdown got closer, it was, oh, I can't wait to get out of here. Oh, I hate being here.
Yeah, and I'd say that this whole infomercial thing is what turned a lot of people off of going, just like they turned them off of going to see the movie.
Oh yeah, and the TV show and the books.
Yeah,
he just, the
overkill.
The self-promotion was just too much.
Yeah.
No one listens to either one of those.
That's right. And believe me, nobody listens to where I'm going. Why would you be afraid of it? Nobody listens to satellite.
Right now, there's nothing to listen
Nothing
to.
going on there. There's nothing to listen to. Why would you be nervous about it? Believe me, I'll bomb over there. You can be sure.
We know.
You have nothing to worry about. I believe this is a big mistake on the part of satellite. You should let me talk about it and not even be
this
worried.
medium, which is successful and vibrant, is acting as if there's a threat.
I don't know why. It's going to fail. We all know it.
Okay, we'll leave that one there, guys. This next one is from November 5th of the same year. Caller calls in and plugs Sirius.
I heard about your move to satellite, and I went into Best Buy to go ahead and buy my radio, so I'd be ready for the switchover. And they told me that nothing was final until you actually went on the air, that you may not even end up on Sirius.
What way would you not end up on Sirius?
How would a guy of Best Buy know whether? Of course I'm going to end up there. I signed a contract.
Everything's up in the air, according to Mr. Best Buy.
He told me that the distributor told him that.
Distributor?
That's absolutely absurd and ridiculous.
So I'm good to go ahead and buy one?
Why would this guy be discouraging sales?
Why would they buy why would they buy it a year before he gets there to begin with?
I mean, I'm trying to remember.
Did you get yours after the fact, or did you get it before he got there? Because I know they had obviously they had programming before he got there, but like for other things, baseball and whatnot. But it wasn't, it didn't seem to make sense to get it in advance. Why? It wasn't like a new computer that you had to get used to or something.
No, that's what I was trying to think of what Sirius and XM were like before Howard, or just, when they first started. I remember, I think Sirius had NBA and NFL, and XM had baseball. They had Major League Baseball. And that was, so I knew about Sirius because I was kind of intrigued about basketball, like hearing, like out of market games, and football as well. Like the NFL, I thought that was huge. And hell, even like you say, I did get my radio after the move, after Howard's move, but I probably listened to more NFL and NBA games than I did Howard after a while, after, I just couldn't take it anymore.
Well, the other thing was, would you say that, I don't know how I guess whether it's a quantifiable thing based online, but would MLB would be the most popular sport in the States at this point, right?
No.
You don't think so? You think football? You think football's number one and baseball second?
Yes. Yeah. If baseball's even second, I mean, baseball's really fallen off here in the United States.
Really, I thought historically, and because the season is so long, and that so more teams. I guess I don't know. I always figured it's America's sport and blah blah blah. All that shit.
But but the NFL's totally supplanted it as number one. But
oh really? Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. You're right though. I mean, it's postseason now, and everybody's geared up. But it's going to be the World Series from hell if it's the Yankees and Dodgers. Everyone's going to slit their wrists.
Yeah, and poor Don Rickles not around to see it if it goes on. He was a Dodgers fan. But it'd be curious to see what happens. And if they had another Subway Series, the Mets and the Yankees already would have been in hog heaven.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, his head would have exploded. But totally. No, but I do remember that. I remember the sports, honestly, like pre-Howard. That, I mean, as far as I was concerned, that was the draw to satellite.
Big time.
For the sports. And even, I remember like Sirius had CFL games too.
Well, there you go. And for you, that's a plus. For a lot, I don't know how many other Americans give a fuck about the CFL, but for some people, if football is football, and a lot of players come and go from the leagues as well, from going from college ball. Some NFL players go to the CFL and vice versa. Actually, it depends on who you follow.
This problem
getting to be goddamn ridiculous. People don't know what they're doing. I mean, of course I'm going there. I don't make it. What do you think? Is that an April Fool's joke?
You're floating a rumor?
It's man, forget it. Of course it's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
How could you be so easily talked into such a ridiculous story?
Email me the number of that. Just email me the address of that store. I'm going to call over there.
I'll do. I'll get on tonight.
Thank you.
Right.
Thanks.
And the same day, guys, it's earlier in the show. Did Radio Shack buy plugs for Sirius?
So you know what I'm thinking of doing? Because I don't know how comfortable everyone is with me answering questions. I might just go down to a Radio Shack and answer questions.
A Radio Shack?
Yeah. Radio Shack.
So clearly there's a gag order, and he's going past it. Like he's just now, because that was the other day was the 26th. Now we're in November 5th. And so he's got a hankering to keep talking about this as opposed to everything else that's going on. And if you recall, like the show was quite busy. They had a lot of bits going on all the time.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Like I'm just going to go to one and
you won't announce it.
No, I'll announce it.
Oh, you will?
I'm going to say I'm appearing at Radio Shack to answer questions.
Because you could Radio Shacks aren't that big.
It's okay. I'll just go in the parking lot outside with a megaphone.
Some of them don't even have parking lots.
What does that mean? So, like most Radio Shacks, I remember, were part of malls, and malls have parking lots. What is she talking about?
Oh my gosh!
I mean, fucking insanity. So he's right. Like I said before, he's clearly got the gag order on. There's something that's gone down where he's been told don't just shut the fuck up about Sirius, and now he's going to do whatever he can to try to get away with saying it on the air in the guise of sponsors, not sponsors, callers, and Robin talking about it, not Howard. So are you ready for your move to satellite, Howard? That kind of shit.
Right,
Because
exactly. Yeah,
like
so
the gag
got-
order's on him isn't necessarily
Right.
on anybody else and guests and whatever. And they might even be, for all we know, Gary's instructing the guests to ask about the move.
Oh, totally. Yeah, they're planning. Yeah, all this stuff, everything is calculated.
Yeah.
Okay, who has a question?
Radio Shack.
No, Radio Shack. No, I'm serious. I'm going to go to a Radio Shack.
Why Radio Shack?
Because if you know anything about the business we're about to go into, they are exclusive to the company.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're
You should have
great.
said that.
Yes, and they can hook people up. So.
All right. I didn't understand Radio Shack.
You're getting in deep water, dude. The next one is, where should I go to plug this move, Robin? This is from 11:08, November 8th, 3 days later.
Hey, by the way, you remember on Friday I was saying, I want to talk about the whole move to Sirius, but like a lot of the stuff here I don't want to say because it'll sound like a commercial and then everyone says I'm advertising my move and all that.
Right.
And Tom will be running in.
Right. So I said, what I'm going to do is go on I'll go on a TV show and talk to my audience there, which is a shame because I'd rather talk to my audience here. But, I always think it's a lot more beneficial if I talk about my move here. But, and Viacom's being reasonable, by the way. They're saying, hey, you can talk about it, but just, keep it real for us. So I said, okay, whatever that means. So I don't want to say the wrong things. I said, I'm going to go on a TV show.
I meant to ask you, at the time when this was going on live and you caught these shows and you kept hearing all this fucking promotion, did it hit you immediately that, oh, he must be getting some swag or some back end shit to be promoting it this heavily? Otherwise, he wouldn't be doing it?
Well, at the time, no. Listening to it now, yes. I mean, because we know that he doesn't do anything unless there's marbles attached. But back then, I was just sick of hearing about it.
Yeah, so it was on a basis of he's just talking about it too much. He didn't think it's about plugging.
Exactly. No, it was so incessant. It was just boring. You know what I mean? Like,
it was just another obsession of his, the way he would obsess about the elections. He would obsess about, chess, or he would obsess about, the Ronnie's limo and all that horse shit.
Yeah, before the obsessions turned to, cock.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm going to talk about my move to Sirius because there's a whole bunch of crap going on with it. Not bad crap, great crap, good stuff.
Yeah, you want to talk about what you're doing.
Right. So I said,
a question I would have is, are your other station, the other channels you're programming, could they go on right away?
Yes. There's a whole, I'm working day and night on on 3 channels.
I knew you'd laugh when you heard that. I'm working day and night.
Oh my gosh. Have they made any announcements about that 3rd channel yet? Like, is it going to come online here soon?
That's the funny part. Yeah. Like, we've got all these channels he's talking about. So in the end, it was only Howard 100, Howard 101. And I guess the 3rd channel ended up being the DirecTV. The Howard TV component, but he still had to stagger that a few months, I think. So it was Sirius were not happy. People had to double dip to get a subscription and a separate subscription for the on-demand shit. I can see, because that's direct competition, and then ultimately it should have just been amalgamated into one cost, but they were too stupid to figure that out.
Right. Hey Howard, did you ever think about using your ABC slot or something like that?
Well, it's funny you say it. Let me tell you the whole story. So I'm thinking about it, and I said, well, maybe I'll go on Letterman. I'm going to go on Letterman. But you see, Letterman, he gets so controlling that, I don't know that I could really talk to my audience seriously there.
Right. You might not get out the information you really want to get out.
So then I said, why don't I just go on a really bad show, like a low-rated show, and go on there so I can talk to my audience, and even then bring in some of the audience so I can answer their questions.
That sounds like
so. I was thinking like a bad show like Charlie Rose.
Right. Yeah, that show of his.
And I would say to the audience, look, I'm going to be on Charlie Rose, and I'm going to answer all your questions about my move to Sirius.
Yeah, you didn't mind going on Charlie Rose to promote your fucking movie, asshole.
Right. Maybe he's talking about Magic Johnson's show.
Yeah, that would have been perfect if it was around. Was it 95 his show? I think.
Was it that long ago? It was. But he did go on there, didn't he?
Oh yeah, and we were going to cover that one day because it was awful. Like, and
Yeah, it was brutal.
to be honest, like the show was bad. Magic Johnson should have been nowhere near a telephone show. Did you ever hear Artie's story about? Well, he was talking about Howard, but did you ever hear the Artie clip of him talking about the Magic Johnson show?
No, I don't think.
Hold
so.
on. Let me see if I can find it. We'll put it in the middle of this. This is Nick and Artie on the Nick and Artie show talking about the Magic Johnson show. I'm sorry that it might be a little low in the mix, guys, but I'll try to soup it up.
I remember.
And
I was
make fun
listening
of
every
it.
day.
So funny.
Brutal.
Just unbelievable. And it couldn't do it today. Be too politically incorrect. But anyway, okay. Ving Rhames, the actor's on, okay? And this is how Magic Johnson poses a question with this. Now, you play a lot of roles. You good at roles. You an actor that plays a bunch of roles, like real diversification roles. Like, you play a lot of roles. What role, is there one role that you as an actor would want to play as your dream role? Like, the best role an actor could play.
I'm getting embarrassed right now.
What is your role as an actor? What's the one role? He said role 50 times. What's the one role you as an actor want to play? What's your dream role? So there's a pause and Ving Rhames goes, I'd like to play Jesus Christ. Then there's an applause from the audience, and Magic Johnson goes, ha ha, now that's a role.
Oh my goodness.
Oh God! So I only saw like some clips here and there of the show. I don't know how bad it was, other than what what people saw on YouTube. But because I was working most of the times when that shit was on. But and if it was late night, I was watching something else. I don't know that I would find the time to watch the Magic Johnson show. But I imagine it would go just about as well as Gilbert Gottfried playing point guard for the Lakers.
Or I was going to say, or Chevy's late night show. I mean, it was pretty bad. It was. I remember watching it. It was not good.
Did you find it was odd that somebody who was used to doing live television at SNL would have such a problem with a produced show? I mean, I don't know that it was live necessarily. I mean, they record these things at 5 p.m, as far as I know, or like earlier in the day when they do Letterman or what have you. They're not. It's not like at 11 o'clock everybody's out there. So, did you expect Chevy to do a little better than it did?
Yeah. I mean, but it's like one of those things you don't really realize what all goes into it until, there's like this massive failure and then the stories come out.
Yeah.
I think part of it was him, like he wouldn't listen, but then there was something else about the show that wasn't his fault, where it was either the network or somebody did something kind of dirty to him, and it kind of, it helped the show not be successful. I know I said that wrong, but yeah, there was something. I can't remember what it was right now, though. I think I saw either read an article or saw a YouTube clip about the demise of that show. It was pretty interesting.
Do you mean it would have been like a withholding of guests, or guests that wouldn't go if they would be blackballed from other shows? Because around that time, I can't remember exactly when it was. 91 or 92? I thought it was 91.
I'm trying to remember if it was who was it? Joan Rivers had a thing.
Joan Rivers was 87. She tried her own thing. 86, she tried her own show, and that failed. But then Arsenio was already in full swing, so it wasn't a competition there. But Arsenio wasn't Fox at that point. Arsenio was at Paramount, so this was a Fox show directly.
Right. God, let me see if I can remember I can find something on it real quick. But to answer your question, though, yeah, you would have thought that Chevy would have done better. But I'm going to be honest with you. I've never really been a big Chevy Chase fan ever.
Mm-hmm.
Same. I mean, he was okay on SNL, and probably the my favorite movie with him in it is probably Caddyshack.
And
that's about it.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll continue. Are you still looking that up, or just?
Yeah. Let me just.
Okay.
See. Oh. You know how you plug in? I put Chevy Chase TV show, and the number 2 thing on Google is, why was the Chevy Chase show so bad?
That's great.
And then the article, Unearthing the Complete and Total Disaster. That was the Chevy Chase show. And this is from vulture.com, a 2013 article. I think this might have been the one I read. Let me see here.
Why don't you read just a little of it, just for the sake of argument? Usually the opening paragraph is the best.
Yeah, this was like on the heels of him screwing up his time on Community.
Because someone did. Yeah. So it was a way later article, like they're just chronicling this thing after seeing what a mess he's made of that.
Right. Let me see here. But here's something. The Chevy Chase show is a story told to young network executives at company retreats in the woods at night to give them a good scare and to hopefully get one of them to wear their suit pants to be used for precious blackmail later. Fox initially wanted to get into the late night talk show game that seemed wide open in the early 90s with Dolly Parton. Parton supposedly suggested Chevy Chase, who in a 2004 feature with Entertainment Weekly claimed that he wanted to do a cool, intelligent, funny show, but the man got in the way. The YouTube clip of Chase's boring, gushing, pointless interview with best pal Goldie Hawn from opening night was the one part of the show that most people had ever seen, unless they were watching originally back in 93. The uploader, it turns out, was actually kind, because here's what occurred right after. Okay. Oh yeah, they had a dance party. Like it was just like bizarre things like that would happen. Like they would, like he would interview a guest and then be like, "Oh, dance party time." And they would play dance music. He'd get up and start dancing.
That's insanity. Like I don't think there's a full episode. Maybe I could find it on one of the streaming sites, whatever episodes exist of there, because would there have been enough for a DVD? I have no idea. But just as a train wreck television, it might be fantastic. I remember that Goldie Hawn interview. He was so clearly nervous. Like it was painful. And this is someone he starred with in Foul Play, and it was a big hit movie actually at the time. And apparently he had a fling going on with her at the time. And so you think if he's going to be comfortable with anybody on the air, it would be her.
Right. Yeah. And it was, they were saying that everyone was thinking of Chevy in the Caddyshack role. And here he was, like he wasn't that guy anymore. He was a middle-aged dude. Yeah. And, it didn't work. But God, there was something else. Okay, here we go. Here it is. By the third week of the show, changes had been made from a panicked Fox. So it was the network started screwing with the show over the unacceptable ratings. The network had initially promised advertisers millions more viewers than would end up watching their local news and or Letterman instead. So any semblance of silliness was out, which meant even more focus on the man, the legend, Chevy Chase. Mm-hmm. Chase even acknowledges, after a terrible joke evoking hee-haw, that he was told that he's been acting nervous for the first 9 episodes in the monologue, which is followed by a decently amusing gag that reveals that's the reason for the host's discomfort, was that a hick with a gun had front row seats to every show. Ha ha.
Interesting.
Let me see here. Yeah, so they made him be serious. Let me see. Geraldo Rivera was the first guest. Then Chevy Chase. Then Chase effectively gave up trying just a little bit to not indulge himself in participating in a good old-fashioned audience-insulting, pretty much masturbatory exercise of a jam session with his band.
Oh, so him playing, because he plays piano a bit and drums.
Was it piano and drums and stuff? Yeah, he was a musician, sort of.
Yeah,
so
he played with Steely Dan.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah, those Steely Dan dudes. Yeah, he was in the early form of that. But apparently he's one of those guys. He's just not a very nice man. You know what I mean? No. Like everything I've heard about him as a person is that he's a total dick.
Right. It's why, like, when he was at Howard's wedding and we heard the story of him making that awful speech, I was of two minds. I'm like, one, it sounds like a perfect place to get revenge on Howard.
Right.
But I could easily also have seen it gone the other way, where he thinks he's being funny and he legitimately thought this is going to, make the crowd laugh and endear himself by being an asshole. It's just him being Chevy. It had nothing to do with Howard. He just happened to be at a wedding and wanted to, be funny and it failed miserably.
Right. Yeah. He always came across like he was kind of, I don't know, like he had Asperger's or he was mildly autistic or something. I don't know.
Well, he has an album. Do you know that? Do you know that he released an album?
No, of what?
It's a musical album. Let's see if I can find it on YouTube. One sec.
Oh, I thought you meant like a comedy album. Like
Chevy Chase LP. I think it's from 1980, so it was after SNL.
I shot the sheriff, and I also shot the deputy.
So it's a straight cover. It's nothing.
I shot the baby.
It sounds like a parody.
Poking all the PCP.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh boy. I can't stop having fun. No.
So that would have been him on keyboards, and I'm not sure exactly why he thought this would be something worth buying, but I know that G-Chup went to one of the conventions and got him to sign it.
Wow.
And asked him about Howard, and he said something like, "What the fuck do you want? What do you want? No, I don't want to talk about Howard," or something like that. And he was just a complete dick. And I go, "Well, you didn't that? It's not surprising, was it?" And he goes, "No, not really. I can't remember if he got the LP signed or a picture of was it Under the Rainbow, that film he did?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one he did with Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher, yeah, he had a poster. So I can't remember which. So G-Chup, forgive me, I forget which one you got signed in the end. I imagine he wasn't going to sit still for two.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Yeah, I'm surprised he would even do those. Are those shows they must be lucrative to people, right?
What, conventions?
Yeah, like those where they get autographs and stuff.
Yes, because there's a different that you can just, if you go for, there's a picture, you pay extra for that. If with a picture with them, you sign this. If you sign 3 items, it's like $100. It can go, in VIP packages and stuff. It can get really expensive. And then if you're big enough, thousands of dollars you can make in a day. It's worth it, especially if you're on that circuit. God knows Mark Hamill's made a total career of it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, we'll get back to it, guys.
Serious. So after I got off the air, the first show I heard from was John McEnroe's show. He goes, "Hey, I have a really bad show. You could take that over for an hour."
Are you willing to admit it?
Yeah. He goes,
I forgot he had a show.
Me too.
When they said Dolly Parton, I thought, when you said Dolly Parton, I was like, did Dolly Parton have her own show?
I guess it sounds like it fell apart. Like she was going to do it, and then of all people, she mentioned Chevy Chase, and that's who they went with, which is just weird.
Unbelievable.
No one watches my show. If you want to go on a bad show, I'll let you do whatever you want.
I got the show for you.
He goes, "I won't even show up that night if you don't want me to."
Do you know how bad that show is? Sports Illustrated did a little blurb a couple of weeks ago. There's 373 cable shows. McEnroe's show came in 372. It beat a show on the Food Network called How to Boil Water, which is a real show.
Wow.
So
there's a bad one.
Right.
I hate that because How to Boil Water is way better than McEnroe's show.
Artie's actually watched that show. He's telling me about it.
So I was like, let me think about that. But I think that might be too low rated.
Yeah, that's building a house, and you only want to use the house. You don't want to build it.
I want to rent. So
anyway, he's going to talk about different shows going on Kimmel. The funny part is he mentions about Kimmel, and then he's like, no, that's too low rated. Meanwhile, he would kill to be on Kimmel's show these days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah. The next one is from the next day, November 9th. 15 million new ideas. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's time for me to leave here. And as a matter of fact, I got some inside information that what Viacom's trying to do is get Sirius to pay them a bunch of money to get me to leave early.
Oh.
Yeah, we were speculating on what that number might be.
I don't know, but I know that Sirius isn't going to say, Sirius will be patient and wait for me to show up in 2006. So it's not like in there, they'd like me to start early if that was possible, but
they didn't know. There's no way that happened. I don't believe for a minute they were going to do that. That's him officially putting out the idea. Like, I'm going to be Dr. Doom in the new Marvel film, guys. That's him putting the idea out there that he wants Sirius to buy out his contract of the last year or whatever he's got left, so he can start earlier.
Right. Yeah, that was just a ploy,
Yes.
Because he knew good and well that. He definitely wasn't going to, leave any money on the table. And, and the radio station. I mean, KROCK wasn't. They certainly weren't going to let him off the hook. Screw him.
No, not if he had 2 months left, or just under 2 months left on the air. And then if they had a year of potential ad revenue in the toilet, they wouldn't just be paying for his salary. They'd have to pay for prospective ad revenue.
Oh yeah,
projected ad revenue based on what they were getting at the moment, which would have been. They said, I think Tom Chiasano said they were billing like 30,000 a live read at this point.
Yeah, what's that singer guy that the jewelry dude's going to want his pound of flesh? Come on.
Big time, yeah, absolutely.
They're willing to wait because we got a lot of planning to do anyway.
I was going to say they're not actually ready.
No.
Yeah.
And who cares? But I mean, I'm ready to leave. I'm really ready.
Meanwhile, when they got there, they weren't ready. They still had test shows and stuff, and things were fucking up in that first week. That's pathetic, dude.
To leave tomorrow. I'm ready to go do a real radio show instead of this crap.
Well, yeah, baby talk and still getting it cut up is really ridiculous.
It's time for me to leave. It is time for me to go.
Yeah.
You just got to get.
Well, you knew the handwriting was on the wall long before.
Yeah.
We just got to figure out.
This occurred.
We got to figure out a way to get the robo spanker out the back door, though.
Well, Tom said he might give it to me as a gift because he doesn't really want to encourage anybody else using it who replaces me.
Yeah, it's not going to go with the next group.
Right. Booker going to use it on the afternoon show.
Right.
Well, one thing I realized is that later in the 2005, when I started listening to the audio on the LimeWire and stuff, and I heard him talk about, they're getting it ready for David Lee Roth. They're bringing in palm trees, whatever bullshit Dave wanted for his studio, and that they weren't treating Howard very well. It sounded unprofessional based on his information, the way he was talking about it to him. But then once I heard all of this stuff the year before, like after he announced it and all the plug for Sirius, I don't blame them one bit for treating him like shit on the way out.
No, and then I was just thinking, just listening to him, like, his words. I mean, you could chop those up and chop those up as Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C in the lawsuit. Here, listen to this. Yeah, listen to this, Judge.
Yeah.
So the big push is get Stern out the door, but get a ton of dough.
Right.
Which I can understand, but it ain't going to happen. Sirius isn't going to pay him a ton of dough because what do they need to?
See, somebody told me they were trying to estimate what your show was going to generate for the network in the next year. And
nobody's paying that.
And I said, was that like $50 million?
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to pay that.
That's crazy.
That's probably low end.
They're going to say, you know what, we're not that anxious. We'll wait a year and, build.
You do what you have to do.
Meanwhile, I'm busy building 3 channels, and I'm busy, preparing for my exit from here and my new job over there, which is fine. But it's so weird because it's such a limbo. Like, I have about 50 million great ideas for this radio show.
Sorry, I said 15. My bad. He said 50. Should have been 79 million.
So that require expense and, and I really can't go to Tom and go, listen, we're building a future together.
And the next one, guys, same day, very telling audio of Howard hitting the wall with Mel.
Can I ask a personal question? Do you talk to anybody high up at this company, or is that sort of that's done over?
In fact, they've been really doing some crappy things behind the scenes, like sending me all kinds of weird legal letters and saying going back on things they promised me they were going to do.
Now he said sending him legal letters,
right?
But they're going back on things they're supposed to do. Which is it?
Yeah. What? Right. It doesn't. That statement was completely contradictory. It doesn't make any sense.
It makes more sense that he was sent legal stuff based on the contract, their existing contract that he was violating.
Yeah.
And that
exactly.
and that he's trying to make himself into like the victim here, obviously, which is what he does best.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just tacky stuff, and it's like, you know what, dudes. This whole conversation about me going to satellite, began 5 years ago, really. I was going to sign with satellite.
So this is 2004. He claims in 1999 he was going to go over to satellite. But I don't. Do you buy that for a minute?
No. I mean, I'm trying to remember. Did satellite radio even exist back then?
And in fact, let me see if I can get the clip here. Just one moment, because this is just utter bullshit when he goes on about this. Hold on. There's a clip I got of him saying, Satellite. I know. See if I got this right. Oh yeah, 1997. So even he called it a step back. So one moment. Let me get this on another thing here.
You wanted to do the Howard Stern Radio Network, which I think is a fantastic idea, but I know it has to be a tremendous undertaking. And what I was thinking...
It's not that tremendous. I can make it happen.
Well,
I'm in the middle of doing it.
With so many people now having these digital dishes and also the big satellite dishes, which we have, why couldn't you get on sort of like a pay...
Because you're missing the point. Radio...
Confused about what we do.
Yeah, radio is primarily listened to in cars. Unless you get a satellite dish on your car.
We're not going on cable radio.
Yeah, we don't want to take our step back. When I was in college, we had cable radio. They would only broadcast it into the dormitories over the phone lines. I'm not looking to take a step back. I'm a broadcaster.
Yeah, but at least that way people that are all over the country, like us who tape the show every day, would have the option.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm not looking to do a paid radio show.
That's too bad.
That's going to be the saddest day of my career when I got to do a pay radio show. I'd rather quit.
Right.
Radio.
Don't do that, but people
say to me, well, you can put your radio show on the internet. I go, who's going to sit by their computer and listen to radio shows? I said, what, a guy going to carry it in his car on his laptop?
Sounds terrible.
I'm not doing that. Of course, that's not my interest. I want to reach people where they live, not on a goddamn computer.
That's the funniest thing ever. Because like by the time 97, 98, 99, I was starting to get streaming radio on computer, and it was great. It sounded just as good. You could get right in the middle of a broadcast, whatever. It was fine.
Oh yeah, that was those were the days of Mark Cuban. What was the name of God, I forgot. I used to listen to it all the time because you could pick up like college games and stuff like that, and he created it for that reason. I think he went to Indiana University and he couldn't pick up their basketball games, and so he figured out a way to do it over the internet and turned it into a company. That's how he made his money initially.
Smart.
God, I can't remember. It was called Audio something. But yeah, so yeah, this is hilarious. So the day I do that's the day I quit radio, right? Howard?
Right. So that was 97. So that was literally 7 years before this. But he claims in 99 he was making inroads into getting this with XM. He went to see the XM's whatever conveyor belt, the factory where they were making the radios. So here we go.
Well, I was going to say again. He's just,
1 sec. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say he's behind the 8 ball again on the technology. I mean, he's always seems like a step behind. And even satellite radio, I mean, honestly, heck, the stuff that Cuban was doing, and streaming and stuff like that has turned into, and podcasting, et cetera, has turned into way bigger than satellite radio, so.
Well, they the thing is, when they start getting into when you start getting into Wi-Fi, like when you're getting into when Wi-Fi becomes a thing and data suddenly internet, mobile phones and stuff, when that suddenly becomes 3 and 4G especially, all of a sudden the streaming, shows, whatever, because rather than downloading something and listening to it, outright, that's the thing that cuts right into Sirius right at the moment it needs to be big and hot. So as the time, 2007. At that point, people were going, no, smartphones are starting to come out. I think 2008, maybe the first smartphone.
I think
2006, maybe Motorola had a couple of really, dinosaur style, with that weird, the texture. You remember the old monitors, what they felt like? What you could, if you touch them, they would, the color would shift with it, when you press them with a pen or like a pen cap or something.
Right.
That's I remember they're like Palm Pilots, but with you could access the internet. I had one, but once streaming became a thing, it made satellite a complete non-entity, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So, and then Sirius bought what? Did they buy Spotify?
No, Spotify's is itself.
No. I'm sorry. They bought Pandora.
Pandora, yeah. iHeartRadio and I think Pandora came together in that package. Oh, Stitcher was the other one.
Yep, Stitcher, that's right. No, it was definitely Stitcher, Pandora. I didn't realize they bought iHeartRadio too.
I thought they did. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I'm mistaken, but if they did, I would have announced it. But I remember because when he did that address to the Sirius stockholders, whatever the fuck it was that Jennifer Vitz forced him to do, he mentioned Stitcher, which didn't exist anymore. It was like saying, and kinescope, you can,
Or
the
SIM
RCA
cards.
Yeah, the RCA Victor.
Years ago.
Really?
Yeah. 5 years ago, I had there's two satellite companies, XM and Sirius, and I had extensive meetings with XM at the time, and they came to me and said, we want you to make the switch. And I sat down and I started evaluating the technology. I actually visited the physical plants where they make the radios and stuff. And at the time, they only had prototypes. They didn't have the actual hardware. So, like, if I went to XM or Sirius, either one at that point, they couldn't even build the radios fast enough.
Right, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, there was no way that it could have been done. So I looked at it and I said, I want to get in on this technology and I want to be a part of it. I recognize that it was the future, but maybe it's premature. So I went to Mel, and Mel said to me,
It was a bit of
you
a
have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
You might as well sign with us. And I didn't want to say, well, that's not exactly the case. I'm being made a very good offer, but...
So here we go. So that's what Mel told him. Hold on, let me go right back there.
And Mel said to me, you have nowhere else to go. You might as well sign with us. And I didn't want to say...
I love that. Mel's like, we got you over a barrel, Junior. Where else are you going to go to make this money? And there was nowhere else for him to go.
Right. Yeah, XM didn't have that kind of scratch back then.
No, and also, from what I remember, XM eventually, once they got Opie and Anthony, they didn't want him, and he went back to them, and he was going to take a deal, and they said no, fuck it. They laughed at him. That's
right.
According to him. Like, he says that, but I mean, I don't know. It would make sense if they got Opie and Anthony first, and then he got butthurt about that or something, and no, I'll go with the competition.
Well, that's not exactly the case. I'm being made a very good offer, but they were kind of dragging their feet too on everything wasn't coming together. And I just said, I'm going to sign here. I've got my audience, and the future looked pretty bright because we could syndicate and go on in a lot of different markets, and maybe get the whole rest of the country to listen. At that time, even though the FCC was still starting to get on our ass.
Are you on in less markets now than you were 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely am.
See, that sucks.
So, I'm thinking about the move over all these years and everything. And at one point, Mel came to me like 2 years ago and said, I want you to sign up with more years for Viacom. And I said, Mel, I don't know. I said, I think I might leave radio or maybe go do some other opportunities. Yeah. And he said to me, well, if you're going to do satellite radio, there's no business there. And I said, I disagree. I said, I think there is a business there. He says, well, if you can get more money at satellite than we're paying you here, then you should absolutely go to satellite. That's what he said to me. You should go. You should go.
See, this is where Mel is a motherfucker. He's like saying, dude, go where you get the most money, but it won't be at satellite. And he's like, you got no options. So by that rationale, knowing Howard's going to stay, and this is where Howard, when Jackie left, he mentioned that he went to Mel and he tried to get more money and he couldn't get more money, and Robin couldn't get more money. Blah blah blah. They didn't get what they wanted. They had hit the wall financially.
Right.
And that was also most likely due to the fact that stations were cutting him off because this was pre-FCC bullshit. This is pre-Janet Jackson. This was after Columbine, after the Selena thing, when he got taken off in Texas and he got taken off in Colorado and all these other markets that eventually followed suit, and that Les Moonves compensated him for because he lost 5 stations, and then Les managed to find 9 stations that were Infinity owned and forced them to make up the shortfall by syndicating Howard.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he wanted Howard. Howard's like, oh, look, because if the way Jackie explained it, it was $250,000 back in the day to syndicate the Stern Show at minimum. But a station like Miami would probably pay 4 times that amount.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and Howard got like almost 50% of each syndication deal.
Jeez.
So when you think of these markets, Syracuse was one, Rhode Island, somewhere in Rhode Island. I can't remember the other one. Providence, yeah. And then somewhere else in Michigan, I can't remember, Dearborn or somewhere like that. I can't remember. But either way, later in the year, there's 4 stations that fuck with him a little bit, and it's all due to his infomercial shit. We're gonna get into that. I'm not sure if today, but we'll definitely in a future episode get that.
And the company said that to me all along.
Yeah.
I said, really? That's what you think of me? If I can get so, in other words,
You're not going to do everything
Right.
you can to keep me.
That's right.
You're going to say if somebody can bid higher, go.
Yeah.
Did he start
and then
crying?
I spoke to Joel when Mel left, and I spoke to Joel Hollander, and Joel Hollander said, Joel Hollander said to me, we want you to stay on longer, and at the same time, every time I want to go in a new market, they'd be like, well, we can't really pay you to go into these new markets all that much because the FCC, the advertising dollars, blah, 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 blah.
All kinds of excuses.
And I said, well, how am I ever going to get on in the rest of the country? And he kind of looked at me like I was nuts. You're not going on anywhere.
This is it, baby.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm begging.
I'm going nuts, baby.
It used to be I'd go in and go, well, maybe I'll consider going into Atlanta if now it's like, Atlanta, we're not putting you on. You do it for free. Maybe we'll let you. So with that kind of stuff, and I basically had said, well, I'm done with this kind of radio then. It's nothing where I can grow.
So there you go. That's just proof positive that he, had reached the wall, and like I said, and so he wasn't going to make any more money there. And then advertising, like I said, that was the one thing that was a problem for him from the interview show, from the Channel 9 show, from the E show, everything. Advertising was always going to be a big bugaboo.
Yeah, big problem for him.
Yeah. So the next clip, guys, is from 11/11, November 11th. Wiggy mad at Joe Hollander, who, just a month earlier, he was great.
Yeah, it was his best friend.
Oh, man, where do I begin? Oh, I'm so exhausted. Long day yesterday.
Oy vey.
I don't know. And things are so depressing. Really? People going back on their word. I'm going to have to start talking about some people that work here.
Ooh.
I really am. I'm going to have to expose them. Yeah, I know I am. But things are getting very weird. Everybody upset.
Everybody means me.
I knew not to trust this guy, Joel Hollander. He's the first one. I knew it.
Here we go.
See?
What a snake.
I said, you're a skunk. I can tell. You got the smell of skunk all over you. And he was like, no, Howard, I'm your friend. I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy. I mean, it's true. I'm leaving this radio group in a year. But now the guy's just going back on his word. And he tells me, he goes, I don't care. You're leaving? I go, well, wait a second. I'm still here for another year, as far as I know, unless you're telling me something different.
What about other times? I mean, you don't necessarily want to cut your ties in a bad way so that they can never be mended.
So, this is exactly what it's the way all of his relationships go to shit. They're fine with him until all of a sudden he won't stop doing this fucking plugola. So then they've decided, well, fuck him. We're going to hold him to the contract, which he has to do for the rest of the year, but he's not getting any more special treatment. And he's not going to get any more syndication. And in fact, they might just lose syndication from some stations coming in the future because we know things behind the scenes that he doesn't know.
Right, exactly.
So I mean, and the clips that I'd like to get to, guys, it's going to take the next episode most likely.
I knew he was a skunk when he was telling, when I heard he worked with Imus all these years and somehow got along with him.
Oh, you got along with him?
Yeah.
So
he's
did
such
you.
a maggot. Not Imus. Imus is a maggot too, but Joel's such a maggot that he could somehow stomach Imus.
Anybody who can stomach that usually has, some flaw.
Yeah.
That's you. You had to work with him, and then at WNBC, you were forced to work with him, basically.
Right. Well,
Yep.
he was his, like, I want to say label mate, but they worked at the same station.
Yeah, he had the show following Imus, I believe. Imus in the morning. Yeah. So it wasn't a competition, although, they treated it that way. And Imus treated them like, an afternoon show. And, and maybe justifiably so. I have no idea. I mean, Imus was definitely all those things they said he was, substance abuse problems and everything, but he was a bona fide hit. That's for sure.
Yeah.
just stomaching it.
Yeah, but of course, then Joel will tell me privately that he hates Imus too.
Right,
all
but
this
he's
crap.
sucked up while he's there.
Good. Well, be honest. What's your problem?
Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
We're not.
I can talk about Joel. I can talk about Joel all I want. You don't want me to talk about why? When did Joel say I can't talk about him? And where's it in my contract? You want to stick to contracts, pal. Doesn't say anything about Joel Hollander.
No, it's what it says is it does say it under the ultimate direction and control. And I'm saying this is not healthy. This is not.
Well, so now you're editing. I can't talk about the people who work here. I can't. What else can I talk about, Tom? What else? What else is it going to be? I'm being treated wrongly. That involves my home.
Who's the skunk? The guy that constantly shits on his bosses at every chance he gets when he doesn't get what he wants. This is total jelly beaner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, and it's just funny how he goes like from these people that are, this is a good guy to, you're a skunk in a matter of weeks, really, right?
Well, just a question, like in terms of legalese, would you ever represent Howard in any single fucking case, knowing what you know about him?
No, because he's uncontrollable. You can't control him. He won't listen to advice. And so he's uncontrollable. I mean, there's nothing worse than having a client you can't control.
Mm-hmm.
That won't take your advice. That's paying you for your advice and then won't take it.
Yeah. Like just keep telling him to keep his mouth shut. Like when we did the first episode where he did the press conference, and the lawyer, you mentioned you thought it was Buckwall, but it was one of his lawyers there looking like he wanted to jump out of the window.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I was waiting for the guy to make a break toward the window and just leap out of it.
Yeah, that was good.
All day, I'm going to talk about it.
And the wrongly, I'm sure, is open to debate. So
it's not open to debate. It's how I feel.
Private.
Tell Joel to get a radio show. Tell him to go on Imus, his buddy. No, nothing. Look at Tom sticking up for Joel. Yeah, that's going to get you promoted.
I'm trying. No,
Joel screws you every six ways till Sunday, and you're going to sit there and
right thing.
Guy totally screws you. You don't even know about it. I'll talk to you about it. I'll tell you.
Do the right thing.
No, you're not doing the right thing.
For you and for him.
Not for me.
Yeah.
Not for me. When a guy gives me his handshake and says he's going to do something, and then he goes, you're leaving, I'm not going to do it. Oh, wait a second. Hey, dude. Well, there's a lot of things I don't do. I don't have to do a lot of things I do around here. And I'm not doing them anymore. I'm going to go by the letter of the contract. Just like Joel.
Notice he's not being specific about anything.
Right. Yeah, just,
See, this is the thing that used to bother me. He would be vague. He would be all vague booky about this kind of stuff. But he'd give you, they're at fault, not me, but then not give you the full details of what's going on. Whether it's legally, he's not allowed to. If you're not allowed to give the full story, then maybe just shut the fuck up about all of it.
Right. But like you said, he never, we never get the details. Never. No. He's always hedging and just not giving any details into anything about anything.
Mm-hmm. So the next one, I'm going to go into the next clip because there's about 4 minutes on this one, and I really want to try to advance the story as much as possible. 11/17, so literally 6 days later, Zvino Brown handing out something to fans for Thanksgiving, part 1.
I've been working on my AA impersonation.
Double A.
Yeah.
Double A.
Very nice. What's going on?
Thank you very much.
What are you doing in here?
Doesn't it strike you that what you're planning tomorrow at Union Square is a little wrong, ethically wrong?
Why? Why? I'm grateful for Thanksgiving, and I want to give out free things to the people.
Yeah, but we both know what you're giving out.
No, you don't. You don't know what I'm giving out.
Well, I can guess.
You can guess all you want. Yeah, I'm going down to Union Square. I'm going to be strolling around, and I'm going to give out free things because you know what? It's the right thing to do. It's Christian of me. I'm a Christian. You're a Christian.
You're a half Christian.
You're going to tell my audience they don't deserve free things?
You're only a half Christian. Okay?
Well, the Jewish part of him also believes in giving.
That's right. Giving less, but giving nevertheless.
So it doesn't bother you at all?
No. I'm going to be doing this, and why not? Everyone come down and say hi to me whenever I'm on the street.
You think they cost anything for them? Stilettos. So these boom boxes he's handing out. So this is part 2, guys.
Yeah, I hope I get it all out. I don't know. This is the first. I got to remember for me that I can't get everything out in one Letterman show.
Right. It's only how many minutes?
The musical guest is Alanis Morissette. I'm happy about that.
I'll maybe hang around and watch our performance.
That's nice.
Yeah, I don't even know what time I start taping. I start taping about 4 o'clock or 4:30, the Letterman show on Thursday. That's tomorrow. And
They tape that early? Oh, I didn't know that.
And before the Letterman show, at around noon, I am going to be in the streets of Manhattan.
Really? Just wandering around?
Yeah. Because it's Thanksgiving,
Uh-huh.
and I want to give out. I'm not giving out turkeys this year to the people. I'm giving out.
What you're giving out.
Let's put it this way.
That's great.
You'll see what I'm giving out.
You know, the high-pitched Eric is going to be very interested.
I'm giving out something for free.
Yeah, well, the last time anything is for free. All right, guys, so that's that day. Then the 19th, Wiggy wants Sirius to pay to expedite his departure from KROCK. So this is more of that shit.
First of all, great seeing everyone, anyway, who lives in New York.
Wow.
Thousands of people came out.
What a beautiful crowd.
It's kind of fun handing out those radios.
I felt like Santa Claus.
No,
now I know how that
yeah, God.
dude feels on Christmas.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. I hope everyone who showed up did, and it was nice to talk to the crowd, and, you know.
I kind of felt like a longshoreman again, loading trucks.
Right. It was
heavy work.
a bit of an assembly line.
Yeah, we were giving away radios, and that was cool.
But everybody was so appreciative.
Yeah. It was great to see the crowd.
Yeah, everybody was really cool.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I gave out about 500 radios right then and there, and then after we finished with that, there were, I don't know, about 10,000 certificates good for a radio.
Right.
So, because we.
Meanwhile, the people went home, plugged them in, and go, "Why can't I hear anything?"
Right.
I guess they figured if you had a radio, you're going to be able to hear it no matter what.
Oh my God, those things were just junk. Wait, what? If I remember right, like it was the boom box, but you had to put the radio like in the boom, like the stiletto fit in the boom box, right?
I don't know about that, but I just know that they did also have boom boxes in lieu of the smaller like portable devices, the stilettos.
Okay.
But I think that's what they were just selling those. But I mean, honestly, who was going to take a boom box into the car? By giving those away, you're not actually you're like, if people want to take it on the go, they got to get something portable. You imagine some guy walking around town with a big boom box serious to listen to
Like,
Howard?
Yeah, like in the 80s. Yeah, the boom
Yeah. Was it Fast Freddy? Flash Freddy? I can remember.
Fab Five.
Fab
Freddy.
Five Freddy. Yeah, sorry.
Couldn't bring them all there, but you can redeem them anyway.
Right.
And did that. Talked to some people in the press. And then went and did Letterman. Well, I went home. Took a little nappy. I was tired.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a break in there.
Yeah. And then I went over to Letterman. And that was cool. That was real cool. You know, I don't know, man. I am so fried. Then I got up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't fall back asleep. I'm too wired. I didn't want to take that Ambien.
At 2, it's not a good idea because you're getting up in a couple of hours.
Yeah. And then, of course, the news hit that Mel Karmazin, my former boss here, is going to be running Sirius Radio. And when that broke, it was like wild. I was in the middle of taping the Letterman show, and he handed me a card. He said, "You look at this." I go, "Yeah, look at that."
So it's key to remember, guys, that Mel left before. Mel had nothing to do with Howard's new contract. And if he had his druthers, it would have been for less money than he got paid.
Right.
So Sirius was really fucked. They were stupid enough to hire him after hiring Howard and signing him, because if they'd hired Mel, he would have saved them a shitload of money right off the bat.
Yeah, if they would have done it beforehand.
Yep.
That's something. Now, there you go.
Oh, my goodness.
So there's all of a sudden, there's a lot of excitement. People are starting to see it.
Well, there was a huge rumor going on just before you came on Letterman, saying that you were going to resign on the show.
Oh, really?
Yes, everybody was like, oh my God. In fact, I heard it was running through this place like wildfire.
He's not resigning. You think he's giving up his fucking money for a year?
No way. No way. No way.
Like, this is just horseshit.
I don't even know where that's coming from. I was reading in the New York Post today. It says, Howard Stern. That is it. I'll get to the phone calls in a minute. It's this weird sort of thing going on, which isn't true. It's a Stern seeks early exit from Infinity contract, which I don't.
Right. Everybody thought, there was some rumor that there was going to be a big announcement, and they thought the big announcement was going to be you saying, tomorrow's my last day.
No. But if I do have an announcement like that, I would possibly go back on Letterman, because they were saying to me right afterwards, why don't you come back on in a month or a week or whatever you want.
I was just saying this morning, if you had said I want to come on every week, they would have let you.
No, that's what Rob Burnett called me last night. He says, hey, we really enjoyed your appearance last night.
I'm telling you, they would do updates with you nonstop.
Yeah, he says, if you want to come on every week and talk, I said, well, hey, maybe, but we'll see.
Maybe you could just do Paul Schaefer's job.
Yeah, take over the band.
Because to tell you the truth, I really didn't get out what I really wanted to say, and it's not Dave's fault. It was just so much going on yesterday, but
I wasn't able to hand out radios to the Letterman audience.
Well, and it's not his show, it's Dave's show, so Dave controls it. Yeah. I mean, so no, you're not going to just be able to go and take it over and like he did, like I said, like the Magic Johnson show.
Yeah, but, no way. Not like, because Letterman needs it to be entertaining. If it isn't entertaining, he's going to be displeased, and he'll let people know about that.
Right.
But there was a lot of information, too, though.
Yeah, I do need to go to some other places and talk.
Well, that's the problem with doing a show like that as opposed to Charlie Rose, where you can just sit and just talk for a half an hour,
The problem is nobody sees Charlie Rose.
I think
loads of people do, fuckhead. At any rate, this next one is from the 29th of November. It's called And You Wonder Why He Was Losing Listeners.
So, Howard, listen.
Yeah.
One other question. Do you think there's any chance you'll be going to Sirius sooner than expected, or
that was the other thing?
Buy out your contract or anything, or whatever?
Half the articles I read about me and I wanted to correct this. Half the articles I read about me are, it looks like Howard Stern won't make it to the end. He is angling to get out of his contract. Now, everything I've said on the air is A, I honor my contracts. B, I have another year here. I'm in no way interested in dishonoring my contract. I wouldn't even think of it. That would be wrong, and not only that, illegal. I honor my contracts, and I abide by them. And then I open up the newspaper. He's angling to get out of his contract. And what
doesn't matter what you say.
I'm not doing anything.
Let me ask you something. Because I believe that Howard, obviously through Don, did approach Sirius about buying out the rest of that contract. I know he did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was either that or like there was an option. Maybe Sirius approached Infinity, like, can we buy him out? Like, how much will it cost? And then they quoted this amount of money based on future ad revenue as well as his existing contract. And they go, no, we're not paying $100 million to get him there a year earlier,
right?
Because the studio's not built. And they don't have enough subscribers. They're needing him. The whole point to sign him early. Well, one of the sticking points would have been him telling them, I'm going to have a year and a bit to plug the show on my show, to plug Sirius. And that's when they go, yeah, fine. He's not admitting that, though.
No, of course not. Of course not. But I mean, you just know that that's what he wants to do. I mean, he said it a million times that, he wants to be paid millions and not do anything. So, he would have loved that if they would have agreed to pay, or even if Infinity would have agreed to pay and just not have him on the air. But like you said, it's all tied into that ad revenue. So neither side is going to do that.
Nope. And this one's from the 29th, the same day. A caller tells Wiggy that Sirius mentions are getting dumped.
Hey, what's happening, Rodney?
Howard, up here in Syracuse, they're cutting every reference to Sirius out.
Oh, that's so silly.
Is it ridiculous?
That's ridiculous. Well, listen, it's part of my life. It's where I'm going. And by the way, regular radio, overreacting to me leaving, panicking, if you will, is laughable. It shows you how weak-minded everyone is.
Next one. Did you really think this would end?
All new technology merged with, instead of like me competing with WPLJ over there or Z100 or, whatever the stations we compete with, we all work together for the common good.
Right.
To get people to sign up and to enjoy a whole new way of listening to radio.
To get people to sign up. Is that giving himself away a little bit?
A little bit.
It's really remarkable. And I walk through the halls there, and like I ran into like Pat St. John or this guy or that guy, guys I know from radio, I saw Human Newman.
Nice.
I go, Human, what are you doing here?
I'd love to meet Human.
You've never seen Human Newman before?
No, and I go, I work with you? He goes, yeah, I do a show over here. I go, hey, how you doing, man? And like everyone's just hanging out, and then like I go over to my studio, and where my studio is going to be, it's next to the gay channel, and it's
and then
That's perfect.
How apropos.
Yeah.
the fellas down the hall, and
it's
then,
wild.
you know, something else going on right next door, and there's all kinds of music channels.
Aren't they in the process of building it, though, right now, Howard?
No.
Yeah, they're in the process. You mean my studio?
Right.
Yeah, we haven't even begun. We haven't even broke ground, so to speak.
I met Human Newman a week or two ago, and he was a real nice guy and everything. And I said, what should I call you? And he goes, Human. I thought he was going to say like Lee or Joe.
Hello, it breaks down to it. Just call me Human.
I felt stupid calling him Human.
Hello, Human.
Human Newman.
Hello, Human.
All right, we'll leave that one there. This next one is Sloucho still buddy-buddy with Les Moonves while shopping.
But, yeah, that was kind of fun going shopping with Les.
So you didn't make a time to make this call to talk about things. You're not really going to do that.
No. It was uncomfortable enough, but I mean, he's not a bad guy. The whole thing's just gotten so out of hand with me leaving and really Joel Hollander trying to be the big man in all of this. I know it's his fault, but that's going to bite Joel in the ass because the radio division isn't doing great. And when they fire Joel's ass, he better not come looking for a job over at Sirius. I don't want to hear about it. It ain't going to happen because he just hasn't been nice to me.
Wow.
But
doesn't this fly in the face? Doesn't this fly in the face of I can't get anybody hired?
Right. Or the same thing. Oh, I don't mess with people's jobs. I don't do that. Yeah.
Right. This one is a short clip from December 1st. This is 2 days later. Syndicated stations are pissed that Howard's long ass infomercials were serious.
And this is an absurd logic. Then listen to this. Then something else happened. I don't know what exactly it was, but Howard changed. He lost his will to continue doing the same show he's done for 20 years. Wrong. I didn't lose my will. I want to do the same show I've been doing for 20 years. They won't let me. He let all this crap get to him. Listen to this letter.
So what this is, guys, is a letter written by the stations that have cut his show from whatever time, 10 o'clock on the dot. They're going to actually stop his show and go into music. And there were 4 stations. I remember having them listed here, but I sent you the link on Facebook it was news that it made national news anyway. Let me see where it was. CNN.com actually on the money CNN thing where he said okay. Okay, that was there were 4 stations that were all part of Citadel Broadcasting Corporation, but this was on January 5th, 2005. We'll go into that at some point. But the 4 of them were Syracuse, Providence, Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, and Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids, not Dearborn. Sorry.
Right.
So Fareed Suleiman, who's one of the guys that he knows from his days in radio in the past, he's the one that they were basically upset by what's been going on with the constant plug-a-roo.
All this crap.
All this crap. You mean my life?
You mean all the censorship?
And then he goes, and who wouldn't have? And he makes an announcement on October 6, 2004 that he's walking away from regular radio. Wow, we were floored to say the least. So he's leaving now? What happens now? Turns out, thankfully, he's not leaving now. He's going to stay until his contract expires next year. We here at 95X thought, great, we got plenty of time to find a replacement. It'll be tough, but we can get through this. Then the Stern Show changed again. It became basically a 4 to 5 hour long infomercial about satellite radio with hundreds of mentions about Sirius. We thought he'd talk about it for a while and move on. He never moved on. It consumed him and his show. Okay.
So that's as much of the letter as Howard will read. And there's a very good fucking reason. And I found it. I went on, Wayback Machine, and I found the link to the letter. So what I did, guys, was I enlisted from the grave Telly Savalas to voice the remaining bits of the letter. So I'm going to get to it in just a moment.
Take any show of mine, except for maybe the first 2 days after I signed this deal, because it was a national news story and still continues to be. Satellite radio is now at the center of the broadcast industry's attention. It's the biggest story out there.
Okay, and the next bit?
Operations director.
Operations director.
VOD.
How's that any different than a program director?
So Gary got a hold of, tried to get a hold of the people to ask why the show's being cut at 10.
No idea, but that's what he is there. The receptionist comes on, and she says, he's unavailable. He would like to refer you to our COO in New York, Judy Ellis.
Right, Judy.
And I say to the receptionist, he's not available. She said, no, you have to call our corporate office. Now, that makes no sense.
Right.
The guy's sitting right there. And I said to the receptionist, too, is he not available or not available for me? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like, I'm not going to pick on a receptionist.
Yeah. It was some weird, bizarre day yesterday. So Gary calls over, and what was that conversation like?
That was a very strange conversation. So I get Judy on the phone, and I say, hey, listen, I've been getting some reports in Syracuse. I didn't realize this was going on in 4 stations at that time. I just knew about Syracuse. And I said, the show I hear the show's been going on for 10 o'clock and they've been playing music. I go, is that new? And she says to me, I don't know, is that new? And I said, well.
Fucking around with Bowie.
Yeah, how easy is that? That's shooting a fish in a barrel.
I go, as far as I know.
You're the CEO and you don't know?
So I go, as far as I know, I'm just hearing that it's happening this week. She goes, oh, okay, well, we want to get our next show started on time. So Artie and I were talking about this in the hallway yesterday. I was like, yeah, you want to pull the plug on Friends so you can go to Veronica's closet.
Right.
You know?
New.
Yeah. Artie was just cracking up.
I mean, that is not here.
Well, I mean, who suffers? So anyway, go ahead.
So then I said to her, well, listen, I don't know everything about how this works, but I believe you're contractually obligated to run the entire show. Because I've been down this road before. She goes, really? Why don't you send me a copy of the contract? Totally,
blowing you
patronizing.
Off. Right.
And I said, you don't have a copy of the contract? Well, why don't you send me one? I said, well, I don't have the contract. I'm going to have...
You're just the producer of our show. You're not in charge of this.
I don't have a contract in my office. I said, I'm going to have Don Buchwald give you a call. Well, tell him to send me a contract. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to have Don call you. And I just left it at that.
Great, Bowie. You're the expediter of his dreams. So
nice work.
So this one is called, this is from the same day. Wiggy's Assholes in a Twist over Rhino's letter. Rhino was a DJ for one of the stations that, that wrote this letter. And he was the one that he explained what in further detail.
We're doing a 4-hour infomercial for Keebler today.
Yeah. They're not paying for that?
That's right, Tom.
Yeah. I was thinking about my situation yesterday. I think my stomach got upset because I was upset about yesterday. I thought it was really goofy that, a couple of our radio stations, the one in Syracuse, Providence, and somewhere else.
York,
Pennsylvania. Where else?
I think Lancaster.
Yeah. Are cutting us off at 10 o'clock to punish me for leaving to go to satellite radio because they claim I do a 4-hour commercial every day for satellite.
Okay, so here's Telly to tell you what happens with the remainder of the letter, guys.
Turns out, thankfully, he's not leaving now. He is going to stay until his contract expires next year. We here at 95X thought, great, we got plenty of time to find a replacement. It'll be tough, but we'll get through this. Then the Stern show changed again. It became basically a 4 to 5 hour long infomercial about satellite radio, with hundreds of mentions about Sirius.
Who loves you, baby? And anybody who doesn't know, he was doing coffee house radio in New York, actually, before he got into the business and started taking acting. So Telly had a great radio voice. And if you look on YouTube, you can see him talking about cities like Aberdeen and Blackpool. He's just doing like little 5-minute commercials for them. It's great. Here he continues.
We thought he'd talk about it for a while and move on. He never moved on. It consumed him in his show. We called Baba Booey and pleaded with him to get Howard back to the T and A and the filth and off satellite radio. He assured us he would try. Nothing.
So Bowie's not mentioning that he was contacted about this shit.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
More talk about satellite radio. This became more than just talking about Howard's life and where he's going. It became a sales pitch, and Howard knows it. Howard has to get at least 1 million new subscribers for satellite radio as part of his deal.
Ooh, there you go.
Yep.
What better way to convince satellite to pay him this enormous salary than to tell them, hey, I got over a year to go with 8 million people listening every day. I'll make it happen.
That's something Howard would never want to admit on his own airwaves.
That's right. I mean, that's the key, man. Telly, Kojak uncovered it.
Right. So, and like
bottom.
and eventually, guys, I'll take a screen cap of the letter or the document. I'll put it up on our Facebook group page. It's actually like there's just a transcription of this. That's what I based it on.
So that's where we are now, resigned every day of listening to Howard talk about his impending move to satellite. Having our listeners reminded every day that in a year he's gone, it became too much. After years of support and paying a ridiculous sum of money, we decided to push back. Feeling we had to take a stance and show Howard and his staff that we don't appreciate him abandoning us. We don't appreciate him talking about satellite radio, and we don't appreciate him taking our money to do a show and then end up talking about moving to a direct competitor for 4 to 5 hours. It's sad, it sucks, but Howard, not us, has decided to leave this way. Stick it to the people that have been there for him all along. Bitter? Hurt? You bet your ass. So the next time you get mad at us for cutting him off and editing, think about this. If you worked at McDonald's and sold a lot of Big Macs, and then one day you told your bosses that you were out, that you were going to Burger King. But fear not, I'm not leaving for over a year. First of all, they would have fired me and you on the spot. But say they let this one really great employee stay on until he left for Burger King. But every time someone came up to order a Big Mac, this guy would say, yeah, no, Big Macs are pretty good, but Whoppers are better. He wouldn't stand a chance. He'd be fired on the spot. That's what Howard has done. He has started to work for the competition while still working here for us. It ain't right, and we took a stand.
So that's about it, guys. I hope you appreciate this little aspect of the plug-a-mercial, and that again, it's something that he would never have released in a million years. You notice that's the second half of the letter that he wouldn't actually go into, and I found it quite telling. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap that one up. We hope you appreciate this one. We're eventually going to get through once he's getting into the that's in this month of December of 2004, and then we're going to go into the tail end of 2005, where it becomes just more nonsense, and we might even get a little bit of the Les Moonves, Joe Hollander coming into the studio and talking to him. So, any closing thoughts before we wrap this one up?
No, I can't wait till we get into the saga. I mean, I remember that, and it was just incessant. And but that letter really lays it out. It really lays it out, and you could see why he was sued. He and Sirius were sued. It's right there.
Well, and the other thing is, we didn't the details of his deal weren't public until he sued Sirius years later. But for someone to be that astute, going into not knowing anything about it, shows you that it wasn't just something that they came up with. It was right. It was pretty obvious, and they knew it from listening to it. They weren't idiots in the business.
I mean, it was more than obvious. It was blatant. You know what I mean? And
right.
And
so
for do you believe? Let me ask you this: do you believe it was, like that was part of the deal? Like, look, you're going to be there for that year while we build it up, but you need to plug it as much as possible.
Yep, absolutely. And it's not. Is it ethical? No, of course not.
No.
But he would be the one saying, "Look, why don't you give me a little more money to do plugs?" And so, but their whole point is, and what he's doing here is he's undercutting KROCK. Right. He's saying, I will get paid this extra bit of money to do plugs for a year, and that's really what they're paying for. But you guys don't get half of it. And Don's not getting a piece of it. It's just going to be part of, Don will eventually get it when he gets paid his contract at Sirius. But that way, instead of them paying KROCK and getting the advertising done the right way through the right channels, he gets to pocket all of it. So it was a really Machiavellian, shitty, dirty, grubby, money-grubbing move.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, we hope you've enjoyed this one, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
All right. See you guys.
Shit, I'm nervous. Please don't hang up on me. She gets a fat condition for the next 2 years. What do you do?
I leave her.
Yeah, I'm out.
No, this is what I was saying. No, don't hang up on my ass. She does the marathon, she go to the doctor, and he say you got to get fat for 2 years. Say you like that's some kind of condition where she got to get fat. What does you do?
Yeah.
What does you do?
What does you do?